today we're going to be doing strategy on close and far zone robots and how to work together. So something you'll commonly see in game is in the start teleop, the close zone will clear the gate and the far zone will start cycling. And so a common archetype you'll see is that the far bot is going to do 2 cycles and the close zone bot is going to basically be clearing every cycle. And generally, you're going to want to work this out with your alliance. But when you have a faster close zone bot, they can do a gate intake, another intake, and try and keep up with the far zone bot. But usually what we found when we were doing our alliancing is that in the vast majority of regions and games, the close zone bot is just going to be at a disadvantage in terms of cycle times, just because the cycle is longer for the close zone. So the far zone bot's duty is basically to take balls from the human player area without getting penned, and to make sure that they can come to the back here and play defense on anyone else who might be far cycling on the other side. And so one thing you want to do is, going back to the auto, once the auto ends, you want to make sure that you know how many motifs were counted. And this is really important because at the end of the game, which is coming up here soon, what you can do is if you have enough motifs and you're trying to go for motif RP, you can stack the whole classifier with just purples. And so what that will do is it'll guarantee you 7 motifs. And in a lot of regions, if you get more than 4 motifs in auto, that's enough to guarantee you the RP. Now, if you have more than a certain amount of balls in auto that hit the motifs, so let's say you get lucky and you get 6 or 7 balls in the classifier that are motifs, what you can do at the end is just cycle freely. Obviously, as the game goes on, you're gonna, depending from game to game, you might gain or lose balls, right? And so what we did to counteract this is at the end of the game, if you're against someone who you know is going to hog balls and not really shoot, you could store balls in your human player, and the far zone bot can have kind of a bank to go back to the human player zone at the end of the game, while the other alliance is guarding their 4 squares during the end game. And this is super important because the hang square and the human player square can really be locked down at the end of the game. If you stay on your side, then anyone who touches you while you're in the end game zone is going to incur a penalty, and you can actually leave and let your partner full park plus a major. And so what that's going to let you do is, by having that bank, you're not going to have to risk getting those penalties. Not only that, but at the end, they can also guard the human player zone, and so that bank of balls over there is not going to be available for you as a far zone bot. So the closed zone bot is going to spend their time cycling for gate, and they're going to try to clear the gate as much as possible. Also, something that they're going to want to focus on is being a smaller, nimble archetype. That way they can chase balls and score the strays and really swip the tides in your advantage. You'll see at the end of the game here, the far zone bot is going to wrap up, and then you're both going to want to just go and park. If someone got a park penalty, obviously you let the other person full park, and you just get a partial. But yeah, that would be it for far zone strategy. Okay, so this year we wanted to do a sort. One thing we really wanted to prioritize was making sure that our sort was really passive. And that started off with the Spindexer idea. And so you'll notice on this bot, we kind of have a lot of space in the back. This is basically the remnants of a pass-through Spindexer that would go around and come up. Obviously, this didn't really work because the possession rules changed. And so we pivoted to something even simpler that could give us a partial sort and RP, and full sort spike marks during auto. This led us to kind of a paddle-based design where we played it a lot into our triangle structure on our intake, which we prototyped. What we thought was, what if instead of creating a bias with just a passively, we manually create a bias in the intake and choose which one of these goes first? So, Hanut, do you want to demonstrate the...
Yeah. So for our actual design itself, we basically just have 2 paddles that control the back 2 balls right here, while the front ball, the ball that's at the front near the outtake is uncontrolled. So what that allows us to do is that we can change the order of the last 2 balls that are being shot at to allow us to get any motif that we want. So as long as we make sure that the right ball that we want for the first part of motif is intook first, we can then control any part of the second shot. So for example, if we want to shoot the green second, all we would have to do is just lower the paddle for the green that's on the left side first, so that it can be transferred to the outtake first and then shot second.
Okay, so what this lets us do is a couple things. During the end of teleop, obviously we have average sorting of 6 out of 9. And so that added on with the spike marks and auto. The spike marks are really important because you have a pre-planned flow of balls. And so what this means is we can technically fully sort this with just these two paddles at the front. If we change the order in which we intake it, so that way the green is in a position where we're always able to get the motif pattern, then we can always sort the balls even with the just two paddles at the front. No spindexter needed, no Lindexer module needed. And so that's really good for making sure that we can get the motifs without actually, being super abrasive on the rest of our robot archetype. And that really is convenient for us because this triangle intake has been working really well, and that plays really, really well into this archetype. It's fine, it's fine. You can cut it.
Is this the player? Is this the player 2 or the player 1? Bro, why would you give me the 2? Give me the 1.
So that's going in the video, right, guys?